Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. So I'm just getting this thing set up. I'm not an expert or a professional at live streaming yet. Okay, brilliant. So, hello, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're well. My name is Harry, and this is Learn English with British Harry. So, this is a kind of spur of the moment live chat, and it would be wonderful if anyone sees this and pops on to the live stream. It would be good to see you. If not, then I'm going to ramble for a little bit, and you can watch this on the replay and let me know how your day is going. Hello, Vladimir. How are you today? Good to hear. And so, what have you been up to today? Yes, make sure that you are hydrated. I'm good. I'm hydrated. I've got my water here, drinking a lot of water today. I generally go through at least 3 liters of water. If I go to the gym, it's about 3 liters or maybe 4 liters sometimes. So, yeah, I'm quite good. Feeling a lot better. Last week, I had that cold, which lingered on for quite a few days. But I was actually thinking that today is Monday, so this can be a motivational Monday live stream. I think it's quite interesting how you see these catchphrases for certain days of the week, but I'll jump on that bandwagon and make it motivational Mondays. So yeah, I think drinking water is really important, especially thinking about electrolytes. So this live stream today is quite a relaxed live stream. There is no agenda. When I say agenda, I mean that there's no set plan. It's more off the cuff. So when I say off the cuff, this means that it's more random, more thinking on your feet, and it's quite different to making videos and lessons, because when I make lessons for YouTube, I have to firstly research, create the script, film, edit, and sometimes editing can be quite tedious. I said that for the last video that I did. This was the jokes video, and I think after a few minutes, I realized, oh no, this is taking longer than I expected it to take. Because it's the simple things like adding in text and a bit of sound here and there. And when you have an editor, it's easier because you can offload the footage onto someone else to put together. But I'm doing it all myself. And when you do it yourself, on one hand, it's nice because you get that feeling of accomplishment, that yes, you finished something, and you can be a bit more meticulous. So you can edit things out. If you're wiping your nose or wiping your face or there's an interruption, you can edit this out. And when you're doing a live stream, it's much more, I'm thinking of the word, it's much more, you have to think on your spot, on the spot. And sometimes when you're thinking and when you're speaking, it's quite nice because I teach so many students. I'm very comfortable when it comes to thinking on my feet, having to plan lessons. And even in some lessons, they will go in, I will plan the lesson, but then something has happened to my student on that particular day that the lesson will go in a different angle. So I can tailor the lesson to actually help my student the best. And I think that's sometimes how life works, because you can have a plan to use certain vocabulary, and you can practice it, and you can practice the pronunciation very slowly. But when you have to speak in real time and in real life, it can be a little bit more difficult. So I think having a calm state of mind is really helpful. Yeah, I think thank you, Vladimir. I think it comes from the years of experience that I've had. So when you're trying your best to help the student to achieve a certain aim or a certain goal, and very often my students will ask me, what's that word? What's that word? I'm able to read their mind and know what word or what synonym that they are thinking of. So I think it's quite a nice skill to practice, because it's a little bit like public speaking. And I quite enjoy public speaking. This is a little bit strange because I wouldn't classify myself as an extrovert. So when you have to speak in front of people, you would think, this person is an extrovert. I think I've learned a lot of skills, techniques over the years that have been really helpful. I think when you feel that pressure that people are looking at you, it can feel very stressful. But if you just focus on what the actual message is that you're talking about, I think then that gives you a sense of calmness. So I think when you are speaking in a conversation, being able to be calm and react to the other person is really important, because even native speakers, we make mistakes all the time. Even in your own native language, you will make mistakes all the time. It's more about the point that you are getting to. And even in today's live stream, where there is no point really, this is just listening practice, conversation practice, that it's about being calm. And also, because this is Motivational Monday, I think it's really important to be kind to yourself and not try to think, I need to speak at this certain pace, or I need to have this certain level. I think that comes naturally and you find your own style. So, and it makes you less self-conscious. I think when you can be less self-conscious, you can be your authentic self. And when that happens, it's wonderful, because we are not robots copying each other. And that world would be quite boring if we did. So you start to develop your own sense of style, how you describe things, your sense of rhythm. So it's quite interesting. So I'm looking here. So I have my trusty microphone here. I keep this here as a reminder. So when I started off making videos, I had this thing here, which pops out here, and it has a small microphone. And I've progressed onto this microphone here. But this cupboard here, so this is a cupboard, it's quite bare at the moment. So when I say bare, I'm thinking about putting something else here, but I'm not sure what. I know um, I was speaking to one of my students today, and we were talking about trends, and you see all different type of trends on social media. What's the name of this doll that if you have kids, it's unavoidable to know what the latest trend is. One of your kids will ask you, "Can I have this? Can I have that?" And there's something called a Laboo doll. It's crazy. If you get a chance, look it up on Google. It's Labubu, and I just don't understand it. I think it may just be like this is a sign that yes, you are getting old when you officially don't understand trends. But I think some trends just don't make any sense. So it's if you're unable to have a look, it's like a little elf, like a little doll, and it has a huge smile with teeth. And the smile, it's like from ear to ear. And it actually reminds me of an idiom, which is to grin from ear to ear. So when you grin from ear to ear, this is when you are extremely happy. So this little doll, there are some exclusive Labubu dolls. I can't believe I'm saying that word. It's very strange. And they are quite expensive. And it's the old adage of supply and demand. So this thing, it's like I said, a little doll. And from a distance, you could say it looks quite cute. But up front, it looks like something which you don't want it next to your bed when you are sleeping at night. I'll just put it that way. And so, Vladimir, have you been keeping up to date with any world news? There's quite a lot of things going on at the moment. One thing in particular is this whole Epstein fiasco. And when I say fiasco, it's just crazy the amount of mistakes that the government have made. So when I say fiasco, I mean failure. I'm not going to go into the exact details, but when I found out about this the other day and I saw the video footage of the prison cell, and the government was saying that this was conclusive evidence. So when something is conclusive, it's when you cannot doubt it. You cannot, if something is conclusive, it's 100%. It's concrete. And the fact that it's not conclusive, that you can see that it's not conclusive because within the actual prison ward, I think 3 of the 4, you can correct me if I'm wrong, of the cameras were not working. And the camera that was working did not show the cell. So the cell is the room where prisoners are kept. And apparently we were supposed to take this at face value. That here we have given you evidence that doesn't show what we tell you it shows, but you just have to believe it. It's it's almost like the definition of gaslighting. So when you gaslight someone, this is when you tell them something, they know it's not true, but you keep telling them the same thing until they believe it. Or even if they don't believe it, they don't have a choice because you've told them so many times. So, and it's also about who is telling you. So if it's the government, for example, are telling you something, if it's law officials that are telling you something, and they say to you, right, this is conclusive evidence, that's it, case closed. You are then have to accept it. So it's quite interesting because a lot of people on social media have made these videos where they go into detail and talking about how there are lots of red flags. So when something is a red flag, this is a warning sign. And there are so many warning signs that something suspicious happened. So on one hand, it's good that people are shining a light on the situation, saying that this evidence you've released about Epstein and the whole case, there's something dodgy happening. But then on the other hand, what can actually be done about it? I just think that in a way, if enough people drum up a lot of noise about it, then it's unavoidable, because news moves so fast that it's almost like you're on to the next story. So you have a huge story and then it's quickly swept away, and then you move on to the next news story, because the news also is like a business. They're trying to get people to click on the news story, to watch the news story. So they want to stop people from getting bored. And in today's society, a lot of people have a low attention span. So not everyone, but it's the stereotype that more and more people are having a lower and lower attention span than they used to in the past, before the internet. So it's good that people stay with that topic and create content about it, so it doesn't just get forgotten about. Because I think it's one of the biggest news stories in history. It has the potential to be, if the information comes out. Yeah, so it's good to see people making content, because you can go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. I don't really entertain conspiracy theories. I like to look at the facts and see what the facts say. But if they don't line up, then there is something suspicious. Yeah, I think, Vladimir, there's quite a few articles. If you look at Epstein files or Epstein list, there was supposed to be a list of all of the high profile people that visited the island and were connected with him. Apparently he had videotapes and there was audio surveillance, but this all disappeared, and we were told that there was no videos that showed people. There was no incriminating evidence. So if something is incriminating, it shows that particular person there in that situation that is wrong. So it is quite a big story, because it had the potential to shine a light on how elites, people in high profile positions, and I'm talking about billionaires here, that are able to get out of situations with enough power, enough money, that they're able to make situations go away. There was even things to do with Prince Andrew as well a couple of years ago, because he was connected to Epstein, and then apparently he paid off one of the alleged victims. So it's quite interesting if you go into it. And sometimes it's quite astounding to think that this isn't a movie; it's actually real life. Because sometimes you can be watching a really good thriller and trying to figure puzzles out and thinking about what's happening. Yeah, because I quite like thrillers and movies where you have to think, not all the time. Sometimes I like just to watch a movie where you can zone out and you don't have to pay much attention to it. But some of the movies where you have to think about it, a movie that springs to mind is Memento, which is a really good thriller. If you have a chance to check that out, I would. Oh yeah, and Vladimir, how's that new, not new, but I remember you were watching a show on Netflix. Thank you. Thank you to everyone for the likes. And if anyone pops in, don't be afraid to say hello. I don't bite. Have to be careful not to kick the tripod camera. So I'm actually watching a show called Peaky Blinders at the moment. And I got on board quite late with the show. I remember a lot of people were talking about the show, saying that it's really good. And sometimes when that happens, it can put you off watching the show, because you're almost expected to watch it. So I put it off for quite some time, and recently I've started to watch it, and it's very engrossing. It's very captivating, especially the main actor. Forgot his name. His name escapes me. Oh yeah, it's Cillian Murphy. So a quick summary. So the show, it's set quite some time ago, and Peaky Blinders are a gang of criminals. Okay, so it's set in the 1900s England, centering on a gang who sew razor blades into their peaks of their caps, and their fierce boss Tommy Shelby. And I quite like the caps that they wear. for me, I've tried some of those caps, but they feel too hot. But I do like the look of them. So they're like flat caps. So this gangster family, they had razor blades in their caps. And I like it because the characters that you have some family dynamics, and it's about when the soldiers came back from the war in France, in Europe. I'm not exactly. I think it was after one of the world wars, and the government has forgotten about them. So they were soldiers fighting abroad for the country. They've returned to the country, and they're in a really difficult situation because mentally as well they have PTSD. So PTSD is post traumatic stress from traumatic events, and it's difficult to get jobs and adapt to society. So it's almost like the government has forgotten about them. So they become criminals to make a living. So it's almost like they have a code. So it's almost romantic in a way, that they are just not thugs, but they have some kind of code that they follow. Hello, Amit. Hello, Amit. How are you today? Okay, Queen Charlotte. Bridgerton. Okay. I I didn't really get into Bridgerton. My wife was really fond of Bridgerton. Was really excited, especially when they had the new season. But she said that the original season was the best, and I think the first season, and I think it's because it's um, a novelty factor. But what I did like was how they had a lot of diversity in the show. You're welcome, Amit. How was your day? What did you do today? And also, a reminder to everyone that I am starting a group course on Sunday, the 3rd of August. So I would love for you to have a look at the details and consider joining. It would be great to see you there. So it will run for 8 weeks, starting on Sunday the 3rd at 7 p.m. British Standard Time. So please check your time zones. All the details are in my description. And yeah, it would be good to see you there. So all the prices are there. And it's a fantastic way, I think, to improve your English in a systematic way. So when I say systematic, each week we will cover a different topic, and you will start to see some progression over the weeks. And I think it's really good for your confidence, and you will have plenty of speaking time. So please have a look at that. Wonderful. Wonderful, Amit. Good that you're watching English videos. I hope you watched my video. If you did, thank you. And Vladimir, yeah, I think especially the accent that's used in Bridgerton, it's very stereotypical when you think of a British accent. And it's quite interesting because growing up, I was exposed to so many different type of TV shows and accents as well in real life. For example, there's a show that's very popular called EastEnders, and you're exposed to the Cockney accent and different parts of London. Excellent. Good to hear it, Amit. So, excellent. And what's for dinner? For dinner today, I actually had a mince curry and rice with salad because I try to focus on having a lot more protein. So, what's for dinner today? And do you enjoy cooking? When I cook, it's very simple. I actually learnt a lot through YouTube as well, which is quite strange, but there are some really good chefs and cooks out there. And yeah, so I've learned quite a lot from YouTube, if it's fixing my machine, fixing my car, or improving my cooking. And yeah, so today was a mince curry with rice and nothing fancy, but I do try to put fresh ingredients. So fresh garlic, onions, and adding a lot of the spices like turmeric, um, and pepper and some curry powder, tomatoes, and I actually feel a lot better. It may Sometimes I feel like, is it just psychological where when you eat whole foods and not processed foods, you just feel so much better. And I think it's also because when I'm training and trying to go to the gym, I don't want to sabotage myself by eating a lot of processed foods. Excellent, Ahmed. That sounds very nice. Yogurt is a very good probiotic. I like to have some Greek yogurt with blueberries and honey on top. It's a really nice snack. Because I find that when I go to the gym first, it forces me to eat healthy rather than the other way around. It's quite strange. So once I actually go to the gym and I feel that pain and suffering, then something in my head clicks. And then I think, okay, I am not going to eat any biscuits and I'm going to cook some healthy food and also batch cook. So when you batch cook, you make a lot in one go and spread it over the few days. Buckwheat, I haven't actually. I'm actually going to look that up. Buckwheat. Ah, okay. So it's like a grain. Looks very interesting. So Google tells me that it's very rich in fiber and several minerals. Looks very healthy. So what's your comfort food? Hello, Mohammed. How are you today? So what would you say is your comfort food? I think for myself, it would be something which is, it's not a specific, it's not a British dish. It's actually an Indian dish. Well, dish more like a bread. And it's something called an aloo prota. So if I translate that into English, aloo means potato. So it's like a flat bread stuffed with potatoes, spiced potatoes in the middle. Ah, very good to know, Vladimir. It looks really healthy. It actually looks like something called quinoa. And I like grains. I think that when you eat something that has a lot of fiber, it makes you full and satiated. So, satiated means when you have that feeling of fullness, and then you don't have a desire to then snack. And you know that if you are putting food that's really good for you into your body, then it can also become enjoyable. So for me, comfort food is aloo prote with yogurt, and yeah, I think it's like a childhood memory that I have with the smell as well. I think smells are such a strong sense, that it can bring back so many memories. One of the dangers I found with exercise is that I can tend to overeat. So when you feel like you suffered in the gym, that when it comes to eating, you feel like you're just absolutely starving. You're starving. If you watch my video today, so that's a very common phrase. And when I'm absolutely starving, it's very easy to overeat, even if it's healthy food. And Mohammed, how was your day today? Yeah, desserts, I think in moderation can be good. There's a show called the Britain's Bake Off. Britain's Bake Off is a really popular show, and they have all of these delicious desserts where contestants have to bake these amazing cakes. So it can almost be like a work of art. And it can also come down to birthday cake. If you think about traditionally, when kids get birthday cakes, it can be something quite special, and it's all about the birthday cake. And it's almost progressed over the years where today a lot more people are having parties for their kids' birthday parties. There's a nice phrase which is to throw a party. So when you throw a party, that's when you hold the party, and it can become so commonplace. And there's so many businesses that cater for kids' birthday parties because they're so popular. There's always a birthday party going on, and you have to have a special cake that the child wants. For me, it was just a normal cake, and that was fine growing up. It was a chocolate gâteau cake, and for me, that was fine. But today, you have cakes where you have fancy designs on the cake, but some of them do actually look really good. Um, we did a Bluey cake in the past. Bluey, if you haven't heard about it, is a really good cartoon, and it's really good because there's a cartoon called Peppa Pig, which is very popular. And if you're learning English as well, watching Peppa Pig can help you to improve your English. If you're starting to get used to the different accents and wanting to improve your basic vocabulary, it's a pretty good start, I think. But one of the things I didn't like about Peppa Pig is that the dad was always made to look like a bit of a fool. And in the show Bluey, they go to the other end. They show the parents actually being good parents. Yeah, so Bluey, 9.3 out of 10. It's become a bit of a cultural phenomenon. And if you have kids, it's one of those shows where you can watch it and you can enjoy it as a parent. You don't have to suffer through watching some nonsense. It's quite interesting, this YouTube live, because when you do a live stream, you can see your statistics, and it's quite interesting because so at the moment I can see that there has been 32 views. So if you drop by, say hello. It's very interesting. And I love stuff to do with statistics and analytics. Sometimes I don't think it's an exact science, because trying to grow on YouTube is quite interesting because it's multifaceted. And when I say that, I mean that there are many different skills you need to have. But it is quite interesting. And I was thinking the other day that what makes something viral? When I say viral, it's such an interesting word, if I look it up, so viral of the nature of caused by or relating to a virus or viruses. But as a noun, it's something that spreads rapidly and widely on the internet. And it's quite strange because you can't predict if something will go viral or not. And but it is quite interesting, and I think a lot of it is due to whether YouTube shows it to a lot of people. So you have something called impressions, and this is how many times it's shown to people, and then people decide whether they want to click on the picture. And that itself is quite interesting because you may have a preference. You may have like, okay, I like the look of this person, I don't like the look of this person, so I'm not going to click on this. So you're competing for people's attention in that aspect. Then you have the title, and is it an interesting title? Is it something that people want to click on or want to watch? So it's very interesting. And you have things like niches as well. Vladimir, yeah, going for a dip. Yeah, it's quite easy to get down to the coast, and during summer people just lose their mind, and the beaches are just overrun. And I do like to get down to the ocean. I think that especially when it's hot and if you are in a busy city, it can feel claustrophobic. It's like you are in a tin can and getting boiled alive. And it feels like the other buildings are absorbing the heat, and it's making it very stuffy and humid. So I think getting down to the ocean is really good. I haven't had an opportunity yet, but I definitely plan to. At the moment, I'm really just trying to concentrate on YouTube at the moment, just putting a lot of energy into it. Because, like I said, so today is Motivational Monday. And in life, things won't always go to plan. You may have a plan of, okay, I want to do this, this, and this by this certain time. But there's things outside of your control. But the one thing that you can control is how much effort you put into something. So it's like studying for an exam. If you study for an exam and at the end of the test, when you finish the test, you can feel proud of yourself that, yes, I put in a lot of effort. Then what happens, happens. But if you do it half-assed, so half-assed is when you're not bothered and you just put a little bit of effort here and there, and then you can't expect to do well. And even if you do well, then was it by luck? Did you just get lucky with the right questions? So I feel like, especially with this YouTube channel, I feel like I want to give it a proper go. And then at the end of the day, I can say, right, I've done the best that I can do. And if it doesn't work, doesn't work. But for me, I feel like it's about having that right mindset. Definitely. I will do. And do you like going down to the beach? I have to stay away from ice cream as well. Firstly, because it's ridiculously expensive. And I don't like the idea of getting tooth pain. I went a bit overboard with treats recently, last month. So I don't want to have that pain again. But I do like an ice cream. My favorite is a cornetto. So it's an original cornetto. And due to shrinkflation over the years, they've become smaller and smaller and smaller. So shrinkflation is when the company reduces the size of the product to save money, but they haven't explicitly told you that we have reduced the size of the product. Perfect. And just another quick reminder to everyone about the 8-week course that's starting on Sunday, the 3rd of August at 7 p.m. British Standard Time. So it runs over 8 weeks. All the details are there in my description with all of the prices and how to sign up for it. I'm also now teaching private one-to-one lessons as well. So if you are interested in that, please go to my website, britishharry.com. You can click on the shop button and you will see all of the different options there. So, wow. So this is it's coming up to 55 minutes there. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to say anything they want to in the chat. So thank you everyone for watching. So I really appreciate everyone's support. It sounds a bit cheesy, but I really do appreciate your support. It's not easy to grow on YouTube. So I really appreciate the support and the community that we are building here, because as a English teacher, it gives me a lot of joy to help my students to improve their English, because it's such a valuable skill. It will give you so many opportunities in life. If you're in a position where life isn't the best, improving your English will open so many doors for you in the future. It's the most widely spoken language in the world, and I've seen success over the years. I've taught thousands of students and I've seen their success. It's changed their lives, and being able to do this on such a global scale with YouTube, I think, is fantastic. So I'm really happy that everyone is so supportive. So thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate it. So to all of the wonderful people that are watching today, thank you so much. So I will end it there for today. And remember, if you think of any lessons that you think would help you or you're interested in, just give me a shout. You can write it in my comments and I can create that for you. So thank you so much. I think I'm going to go and have a snack. I think some yogurt and blueberries with some nice honey. Perfect. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, your morning, your afternoon, wherever you are watching from. Thank you and bye-bye.